The video you're about to see is disturbing, but I think it's imperative that all of us watch it to understand just how evil the Assad regime was. It's a video by the Arab Affairs correspondent of I24 News, Ariel Osseran, and it shows real crimes against humanity. And we have to ask ourselves, why has the International Criminal Court never indicted Assad and other members of his criminal mafia family for some of the worst crimes of the 21st century? Where have the Free Syria protests been on the streets of American and Canadian and Australian and European cities? Where has Queers for Syria been? We know it hasn't existed because the so-called progressive human rights activists of the West did not care less. This is just one of a network of prisons where the most abysmal torture took place, where teeth were pulled out of teenagers, fingernails pulled out. Both men, women, and children were raped repeatedly. Even today, there are potentially hundreds of prisoners trapped underground. As you will see in this report, their jailers ran away without leaving the codes to unlock them. People cannot get them out. Where even now are the protests? Why are there not protests outside the embassies of Russia around the world to extradite Assad and his wife and the rest of his evil henchmen? Just to put into context, far more people were killed by Assad than by the Islamic State. Not to mention, of course, the Islamic State are awful and also war criminals. But why are they not protests against Assad? It is disgraceful. Why did the British Queen from my country, England, pay homage to the evil Assad at Buckingham Palace, the late Queen Elizabeth II? Why did the British and other foreign governments give such respect to Assad? Why did Tulsi Gabbard, who is chosen to be next Director of Intelligence for Donald Trump, why has she not properly apologized? And the list goes on. So please watch this report. This is only one of several similar torture prisons located underground around Syria. Never forget the crimes of Assad.
شوف المساجين. شوف ليك قاعد عم يتمشى. يا حرام.
The notorious Sednaya prison near Damascus, nicknamed the Human Slaughterhouse, this is where the Assad regime tortured and killed thousands of Syrians for over 40 years. Despite rebel forces liberating the prison, there are still hundreds of inmates who can be seen on dozens of CCTV cameras, but are nowhere to be found. So far, 30,000 political prisoners have been freed from the first floor of Sednaya, including women and children. Many of those who were liberated were described as mentally unsound after suffering years of abuse and torture.
شو اسمك شو عم حكاية لا تخاف شو اسمك أنت خلي أهلك يجوا ياخذوك مشان ننشرك على التلفون.
This free teenager lived all of his life in prison. Today, he can only utter one word.
حلب.
أنت شو اسمك؟
حلب. شاب.
أنت شو اسمك؟
حلب.
But beneath the prison, there is a secret dungeon called the Red Section. This is where the Assad regime hid the prisoners it didn't want to be found. Blocked by cement walls and protected by coded doors, Syrian civil defense rescue teams are still trying to reach them. They managed to reach the first level below the ground, but there are still 2 more levels to go. Sednaya and its underground dungeons are just one example of the horrors hundreds of thousands of Syrians have been subjected to for years under Assad's brutal rule. Now, with the fall of the regime, they will try to pick up the pieces and rebuild their lives. But there are still thousands missing, with no proper government helping them to find their lost loved ones, not to mention bringing those responsible to justice. As for those still trapped inside, the clock is quickly running out before it's too late.